Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to crack the code on persuasion. We're going to pull back the curtain and look at the invisible forces that shape our choices online. You know, the stuff we buy, the services we subscribe to. Let's just dive right in.
So, have you ever felt that pull? That little nudge that makes you click buy now on a deal that's about to expire? Or maybe you signed up for a service just because a friend mentioned it? Well, you are definitely not alone. There's some powerful psychology at work here, a sort of hidden language of influence that the world's top companies have totally mastered.
And you know, the key to understanding all of it actually comes from a book that was published way back in 1984. It's Robert Cialdini's Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, and it is the absolute gold standard for understanding why people say yes. Honestly, it's become the unofficial playbook for pretty much all of modern marketing.
So Cialdini basically identified 6 universal keys that unlock how we're persuaded. For this explainer, we're going to group them into 3 main themes so you can see exactly how they work together, using examples from companies you absolutely know and probably use every single day.
First up, we're diving into 2 principles that are all about emotion. They tap right into our gut instincts about value and that feeling of, oh man, I need this now.
Okay, so the first one is reciprocity. And at its heart, it's really simple. It's that feeling you get when somebody does you a favor and you feel this obligation to pay them back. It's a deep-seated social instinct.
Dropbox is such a classic example of this. Back in their early days, they offered you free extra storage, which felt super valuable, for every friend you referred. They gave you a gift, and in return, you felt a little nudge to help them grow. It was an absolutely genius move that made them go viral.
Next up, we have scarcity, and this one is all about FOMO, the fear of missing out. The second we think something's in short supply or that a deal is about to end, we suddenly want it so much more. It just feels more valuable. I mean, just look at Amazon Prime Day. That is scarcity on a global scale. They create this really tight 48-hour window with all these exclusive deals, and what happens? We all go nuts buying things we might not even need just because we're afraid to miss out on the chance.
Okay, so we've covered that internal sense of urgency. Now let's switch gears and talk about who we trust on the outside. Because when we're unsure about something, we look for guidance, right? And we usually get it from one of 2 places, a single expert or the crowd.
The principle of authority is really straightforward. We are just hardwired to trust people we see as experts. I mean, think about it. You listen to your doctor, you listen to scientists. We just assume they know more than we do. And Apple is the undisputed master of this. For decades, they've built up this reputation for being pioneers in design and tech. That authority is so strong that when they release a new product, millions of people just trust that it's the best, without even bothering to compare the specs. The brand itself has become the expert.
But what happens when there isn't a clear expert? Well, that's when we turn to social proof. This is basically our instinct to follow the herd. When we're feeling uncertain, we just look around to see what everybody else is doing. It's that whole safety in numbers idea. Airbnb's whole business model is built on this. I mean, how do you get someone to feel safe staying in a total stranger's home? Easy. You show them that hundreds of other people have already done it and had an amazing time. All those user reviews and star ratings, that is powerful social proof that just melts away our uncertainty.
So here's the key difference to remember. Authority is all about trusting one expert, like with Apple. Social proof is about trusting the wisdom of the crowd, like with Airbnb. Knowing when to lean on one versus the other, well, that's crucial.
All right, we've talked about how value and trust influence us. For our last section, let's get a bit more personal and look at 2 principles that are all about our own internal promises and our connections with other people.
Now, this one is incredibly powerful. As humans, we have this deep need to be consistent. Once we make a small choice or take a tiny step, we feel this internal pressure to keep going and act in line with that first decision.
Duolingo is the perfect example. They don't ask you to become fluent in a week. No way. They just ask for a tiny little commitment, 5 minutes a day. That's it. It gets you started. And then they introduce the streak.
And before you know it, you're on a 2-year streak. And at that point, there is no way you are going to break that chain. The need to stay consistent becomes even stronger than your original goal of learning a language. You are totally locked in.
And our final principle is probably the most obvious one of all. Liking. It's so simple. We are way more likely to say yes to people and brands that we know and like. It could be because we think they're similar to us, or maybe they're just friendly. We just feel a connection.
Etsy absolutely thrives on this. You're not just buying a product, you're buying it from a real person, an artisan who has a story.
By creating that personal connection, Etsy gets us to like the seller, which makes us want to support them. It just feels good to buy from a person you feel connected to, right?
So when you step back and look at the big picture, you see that this isn't just some abstract psychology. These 6 principles, reciprocity, scarcity, authority, social proof, commitment, and liking, are literally the engine of the digital economy. It's how companies drive growth, keep us hooked, and how they increase revenue.
So from now on, when you're online, just keep your eyes open. When you see that limited time offer or that product with thousands of 5-star reviews, you'll know exactly what's going on. The secret code isn't a secret anymore. So the only real question is, now that you see it, how's it going to change how you see the world?